All right, so I made a video called Heavy Squats Are Overrated. And what I really should have said was heavy lifting is overrated. Now, before I get flamed to death, I've been lifting weights for 7 years. I've done my fair share of lifts with barbell and dumbbell. I've been all through that, and I still strength train. So I'm not out here not promoting lifting weights. Hear me out. Now, what I am saying is that beyond a certain point, the risk to reward ratio is not worth it. And a lot of people get their egos tied up in numbers, chasing strength numbers. And a lot of people in the strength world, there is some almost hazing, if you will, of like basically if you can't squat 315 or deadlift 400, like what do you even lift, bro? And I think that's kind of a silly standard to impose on people. Most average people aren't competitive power lifters. They're not weightlifters either. It doesn't really matter. There's not it's just a number. And you go to your average commercial gym, I'm sorry, but if you see somebody squatting 225 ass to grass, that's actually impressive at a commercial gym, because the majority of people aren't going past parallel and their form is atrocious. Now, with that being said, again, I've lifted in gyms. I've done all the bro stuff: incline dumbbell bench press, flat dumbbell bench press, flat barbell bench press, standing overhead press, deadlift, squat. I haven't lifted with barbells in 2 years. I was doing like a power building kind of thing, and I just got really burnt out and tired of the recovery. And I train with kettlebells and steel maces and other kind of like Eastern implements, and I have a lot of fun with it now. My workouts are a lot more cardio focused too. And I know somebody could say, oh, well, maybe you're programming. You weren't programming it right. Look, for myself, I don't want a complicated workout. I don't want complex programming. I have a very short window to get workouts in with my schedule. Most days my workouts are 30 minutes long. When I was going to the gym and doing the workouts of barbells, squatting, overhead pressing, all that, I would be gone for 2 hours. So I just don't have time to do that. And even if you could make the programming right, I just don't really care about pushing heavier weights to, basically at the expense of feeling sore getting off the toilet for 2 days and just wanting to sit and not do anything after. So I realize the benefits that you get from strength training. Bone density as we age. There's countless studies that back this stuff up. Strength training is important, and it is important to build a strength base. I am not disputing that at all, but what I am saying is for most people, once you get to around a 2 body weight or body weight times 2 squat and maybe 2.5 for deadlift, that's pretty good for the average person who's not a competitive power lifter, who just wants to be strong for day-to-day life. And I actually think that people overrate how strong and how much carryover the barbell lifts have into real world activities. Like, for example, thinking, you're just like a complete badass for deadlifting 450. I mean, it's cool, and it definitely is an impressive feat of strength, but at the same time, most of the time things you're going to be lifting in your day-to-day life aren't going to be a symmetrical barbell. So there's going to be more of a grip challenge. That's why maybe like strongman with like Atlas stones and stuff like that, maybe that's more of a realistic kind of thing you'd have to do in real life. And strongman's awesome. I'm not saying powerlifting and stuff isn't cool, but it's all, in context. And for your average Joe, you really don't need to squat and deadlift 355, 400, 500, unless that's just what you really, really want to do. I think the movement pattern of squatting is what is important, and getting a good squat depth and performing squats is important, but going ridiculously heavy is not always worth it. So I know that's not like it's just kind of like the bro thing with lifting is, yeah, bro, ow, hit a branch, bench squatting dead. You got to go super heavy. And I'm gonna switch hands here. I've done all that kind of training, and back in the day I used to incline dumbbell bench press and flat dumbbell bench press with 75s for reps in each hand. I used to deadlift 335, 355, squat 225 for sets of 5. And, I could do heavier than that for like doubles and triples. I think the heaviest I ever really squatted was like 295, which, yes, I know it's not the most, strong, but I don't care. It was good for me. I'm a small frame person. I'm like 5'5", like 140-ish pounds. So, I don't really care. I just compare myself to where I was yesterday. I could overhead press 135 pounds standing. So I'm okay with the numbers that I had back when I was doing that kind of stuff. And I feel with what I'm doing now with kettlebells, even though I still train with moderately heavy weights for a kettlebell, like a 32 kg kettlebell, 224 kilo kettlebells, fairly regularly, I'm okay with the strength that I have just from training these. And I think I'm maintaining enough for my day-to-day life and anything I need to do in the real world. And I'm happy with what those tools provide me. Still maces too, they're a lot of fun. And if anything, I feel like my cardiovascular ability has gone way up, and I feel more athletic. So at the end of the day, like, all these things are just different tools. They all have different strengths and weaknesses, and there is no right or wrong way or one size fits all. I think for beginners, you should probably learn the barbell lifts, just because they're going to have it's going to help you build a good strength base. And then from there, once you develop, that standard, maybe a 2 body weight squat, 2.5 deadlift. I don't really care about bench press, but if that's what your thing is, a standard with that and whatever, then maybe you can evaluate your needs and goals. And if you don't think it's benefiting you, change your style up and do something else. But as far as like where I'm at right now, I haven't been training with barbells in 2 years, and I don't see myself going back to it. So anyway, that was just my 2 cents. I just think that lifting heavy beyond a certain point can be overrated and not really necessary for most people to have a good, solid foundation and accomplish their goals later.